Flood risk management in the UK falls under three broad categories: river management, hard engineering, and soft engineering methods. Hard engineering tends to be a much more expensive method. It has great impact on the river. It's used engineering response in most cases in order to effectively reduce or stop the water getting, for example, in urban area or onto farmland. There are numerous hard engineering methods. For example, dams are built along the course of a river to control the amount of discharge. Water is stored in a reservoir behind the dam and is then released in a controlled way. And then this water can be used, for example, to generate hydroelectricity power or for recreational purposes. However, dams can be quite expensive to build. They do impact on the ecology of an area. Significant amount of land as well as settlement may be lost in the construction of that dam. Flood walls are another hard engineering way of managing flood. These are used to raise the height of the river bank to a level where the river might not be able to burst its bank or to reduce the amount of water getting beyond the floodplain. Flood walls can be permanent, made of concrete, or they can be temporary. Temporary flood walls, for example, floodgates, are removable stop logs built to protect probably a smaller stretch of a river. Levees and embankment can be built along significant length of a river channel so that if the river floods, the water will not be able to breach the wall and cause damage. However, levees can be expensive and might spoil the look of that particular setting. Generally, flood embankments are used where there are lots of space, normally within urban areas. They're much cheaper than flood walls, but they also result in the speed of water in the river to increase, which tends to move the issue further downstream. River management may involve trying to lengthen or widen the river to increase the amount of water it's able to take or to increase the lag time of the flow as well as the discharge. There's also straightening of the river or creating channel. These enable water to flow much faster away. It diverts flood water mostly away from settlement. Altering river channel may lead to much greater risks downstream. The water is also moving faster, which may result in more damage. Soft engineering methods are usually much more ecologically sensitive. They attempt to manage flood water rather than prevent it. This involves working with natural processes to reduce flood hazard while also sustaining other ecosystem services. Soft engineering methods may include, for example, washland, land use zonation, and aforestation. Land use zonation is one of the most effective ways of managing flood risk. So, for example, when planning for a new settlement in an area, this can be used to divide up the floodplain into area or to exclude building in high-risk area, for example, the active floodplain. By dividing the land area into area with different levels of risk, you can assign, for example, red, areas that are likely to experience extremely high flood risk. Therefore, you only build in those areas if there's no other land available. Yellow areas, for example, may be assigned to moderate risk or low risk, where water-compatible buildings can be built. Green areas are places where it's very much unlikely to be flooded and would be the preferred area to build. This is very effective when making decisions about new development in area. However, this does not work in area with existing building. In such area, much softer method, for example, property level resilience measures, may be much more applicable. I will speak a little bit more about softer approach with a focus on natural-based solutions as well as what's known as sustainable drainage system.